G'day, and welcome to Cooking with Glenn. I'm your master chef, Glenn. Welcome to the first official video on Cooking with Glenn channel. So obviously, the name speaks for itself. We are going to be doing Minecraft videos today. All right, we're going to be doing some cooking. So we have created a new cooking channel. This is it. Cooking with Glenn. We are going to be doing some recipes, fun like just cooking, giving you guys meal ideas, things that I like to cook, recipes that I've tweaked to be my own, try new recipes. So it's a crazy adventure that we've just started. And my arms are going crazy, so if you can follow along, it's very visual. So let's go ahead and go in and show you what we're going to do. But before I start, be sure to give this video some love, hit that like button, subscribe, and you give a thumbs up for some tasteful delights. So let's go ahead and show you what we're going to be working with today, and you can guess in the comments what we're going to be making based on this. So let's go and have a look, shall we? So we have is everything we are going to need in our recipe today. 2 eggs. About 600 grams of chicken breast, some garlic, some corn flour, some bacon, the ham we don't need. We got bacon. The ham, it can stay. Thickened cream, real stock, chicken, penne pasta, parmesan cheese. So if you can work it out what we're cooking today, you get a bonus point and a gold star. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are cooking creamy chicken pasta carbonara using penne pasta. So let's go ahead, get started, and cook you and me some pasta penne carbonara. So first, we're going to get some water for our large bowl or pot. Alrighty, big pot. Chuck her on the oven. I've got a fancy electric oven. So we're going to turn the electric oven on. It's nice and fancy. And we're going to turn it on. And I'm going to put that on and let that start boiling away. So the number one rule and the most important thing about cooking is you always wash your hands beforehand. So let's go ahead and wash our hands. Add some soap. Right, all clean. Because you don't want to touch food and handle food if you've been outside, dirty hands, you've been touching the dog, because it could get people quite sick with germs and all that sort of stuff. So let's go ahead and we're just going to chuck our pasta. We've got penne pasta here. We're going to chuck the whole bag in the large pot that we've got. And just we're going to let that boil away. So now we're going to do some preparation. So we need to cut the bacon and we need to cut the chicken strips, the chicken breasts into diced. We're going to dice them away. So a good thing you're going to need for this is a sharp knife. Make sure it is sharp, but don't test it on yourself because you'll probably cut yourself. Use a sharpening blade to make a couple of quick sharpens just to be fresh and sharp. We're going to open our chicken breast here. Oh, that's a big chicken breast. Bloop. And we're going to plop this one down. Bloop. And then we're just going to dice it up. And we're going to dice it up. So if you don't know what dicing is, dicing usually refers to small chunks of meat, not necessarily a square, but it's just a small incision in your chicken. And you're basically cutting it up into small-ish, but not too small, little chunks, basically a dice. Sized is the idea behind that. Is you're cooking diced size chicken breast. So we're going to cut this chicken up into the whole chicken breast. So we've got 2 chicken breasts to cut up. I'm going to cut them both up into a small diced chicken breast. Okay. It's very important to make sure that you do have a sharp knife for this, because cutting chicken breast with a blunt knife could make it dangerous on your poor fingers. So it doesn't have to be the same size. Obviously, it's going to cook, and you want to make sure that you have evenly amounts of chicken for the portion of your size of food that you are cooking. If you have too larger chunks, you're just going to have large chunks of chicken when you're eating your food. So obviously, the idea is to equal the portion of chunks of chicken to the portion of ratio of noodle or pasta or rice or whatever it is that you're cooking, because you don't really want to have like a large bowl of just rice and then one large chunk of chicken that you're just going to eat, and then the rest of the meal doesn't have any chicken. So I sort of just like to make sure that there's enough chicken that if I took a whole spoonful or a whole cupful of food, I would get some chicken in every single serve. All right, so we have cut up one chicken, and then now we have cut up two. Right, so we're finished. Next step is to add a little bit of oil in the pan. Probably no more than a tablespoon. And then add your chicken that you've diced to your frying pan. I like to use like sort of a wider slash higher bodied pan. So I'm using like a wok style frying pan here. So it's basically like the size of a wok, so it's a little bit bigger. So if you're going to be adding liquids and a whole bunch of stuff to a pan, it kind of doesn't just fill out, because a lot of frying pans are really thin and you don't get a real high base. So I like to use like a wok style. I'm going to put the chopping board in the sink, and make sure you don't use it again for anything else that you may be chopping up unless you've washed it, because you've used raw chicken, and obviously you don't want to cook things. You don't want to cut like cheese on there now that you've used raw chicken, because you could actually get quite sick. So I'm going to go ahead and wash that, and then we're going to use it to cut the bacon as well. So I'll put that in the pan on a medium heat, and we want to cook that for about 4 minutes until golden brown or crispy, cooked through and starting to turn brown. So we can prep our bacon. We've washed our our chopping board and our knife. So we might as well, while we're waiting for our our chicken and our pasta to cook, we can prep our bacon. Now the preference for this is your own. We don't have to, it doesn't have to be diced, doesn't have to be stripped. You could just cut small pieces of bacon up. So 250 grams of bacon. And I like to, similar sort of style to the chicken, is I like to dice them, make them into small pieces so you can spread more of it throughout your meal. Again, each to your own. If you like to have larger chunks of bacon, then you put larger chunks of bacon into your meal. So I'm going to go ahead and cook up all of this bacon, and just put it into smaller chunks. I'm just using plain old regular bacon, no smoked bacon or anything, but you could if you'd like to. Again, it's totally up to you how you want to put the bacon into your meal. So there you go, nice and diced. So whilst all that sort of going on, you want to get yourself a bowl, and you want to put the rest of your ingredients sort of in there. So the ingredients calls for 2 cloves of garlic. I'm not using crushed garlic. I'm not using cloves of garlic. I'm using the garlic in a jar sort of container. And my ruling and method is usually 1 clove is usually about 1 teaspoon. So I'll put 2 teaspoons of crushed garlic into my little bowl here. I'm almost out of garlic, I just realised. Put that away. So you want to use your chicken stock. So 250 mils or 1 cup of chicken stock, and chuck that into the bowl. Okay. Now, obviously, as you notice, I'm putting the amounts of ingredients up on the screen here when they pop up. So, but in the comment section, I'm going to put the entire list of what you need, like 500 grams of this or that. So if you do miss it on the screen, you can look in the comment in the description, and you'll be able to find that. So the recipe calls for 2 egg yolks. So in order to get egg yolks, you're going to have to separate them. So I'm using farm fresh eggs. So it's best if you wash them beforehand, because they're fresh out of a chicken's bum, and they haven't been washed or cleaned. I literally grabbed them out of the chicken's cage this morning. So give them a quick wash. Now, in order for you to get a yolk from an egg separate to the white, you want to crack it. But what you want to do is you want to just let the yolk. So I see you here. So you want to just sort of let the white get out and keep the yolk, passing it from side to side, from one side of your shell to the other side of your shell, like so. Just so the only thing that remains is the yolk. And then you put that in there. And then we'll do the same for the second one. Try and show you, oh, this one's going to be not as good. So what I might use is the shell from the other one. So you want to keep the yolk, and you want to just basically tip it from side to side, letting it drain, so that way there's no more whites, and it's just the yolk. As you can see here, this is just the yolk. So chuck that bad boy in there as well in your bowl. 2 of those. You want your cream. So you're looking at 3/4 a cup of cream, or 185 milliliters of thickened cream. So you're basically looking at, 185 mils. And if you don't know what that looks like, you should get like a cup or a utensil that has measuring items on the side. A prime example is a baby's bottle, because it has how many mils are on the side. So that's 185 mils right there. Put that into the bowl. Then of course, probably should wash that, because you don't want your baby drinking thickened cream out of a bottle. So the smallest real thickened cream that you can buy from your local supermarket is 300 mils. So you're basically looking at just over half of one of these. And then you want to put corn flour, 1 tablespoon of corn flour. This is to basically thicken it up a little bit when it's cooking. I don't even know if there's any in here. So 1 tablespoon corn flour in there. And the last one is you want to add half of your parmesan cheese. So it's 30 grams of parmesan cheese. About 40 grams of parmesan cheese. So you want to add half of that inside of your container. So again, I have a small bag of parmesan cheese here. So I'm adding maybe a teaspoon, a little bit more than a teaspoon of parmesan cheese inside of your little mixture. So I can hear my chicken cooking away over here, and also my pasta's boiling away. So I'm just going to stir my chicken for a little bit, just to make sure that every side of your chicken is cooked. So the recipe asks you to whisk whisk your ingredients that you've put into this bowl. So again, this is the garlic, 2 cloves of garlic, chicken stock, 250 mils of chicken stock. Look at my apron, it's got cornflour all over it. Your 2 egg yolks, your 185 mils or 3/4 cup of thickened cream, a tablespoon of corn flour, and 2 or 20 grams of parmesan cheese. So the recipe calls to whisk it. So you want to get your whisk, and you want to just keep whisking this for a little bit. This is basically going to form your creamy sauce on your pasta and your chicken. So you just want to give that a good whisk until it's all combined, until it looks good. So your eggs are all mushed up. So you want to make sure you don't just have a whole yolk floating around because it's going to... So you want to make sure that you whisk this enough that there's no eggs, but your cream's all blended, your garlic's all blended. Everything is blended and good to go. Now, I love cooking at home. I'm a big fan of cooking. I've got 3 children myself, so sometimes you find that cooking is very hard to do of a night time, especially when you can't be bothered. You're trying to put kids to bed, you're trying to get kids bathed, you're trying to have kids have their own dinners, and it just doesn't it's not easy to cook all the time. So a meal like this is actually quite easy. There's not much preparation to go. So you're cutting your chicken, you're cutting your bacon, you're whisking up a bowl of stuff. So it's not too much, and you're cooking some pasta. So it's not too much that it's going to be actually quite a long process to cook. I'd say 30 minutes, maybe, if that preparation, and maybe 30 minutes of cook time. So I'd say that this is 30 minutes of cooking total. So we've done maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes of prep, and then the rest is just cook time. So not that hard to make, but again, if you don't have the time, you don't have the time. So our chicken's all pretty much all white now because it looks like it's been cooked. Our pasta is boiling away. So we're not that far off, making sure that everything is done. So I'm gonna time lapse. The wonderful thing about internet is that you could just speed up time. So when the chicken's done, I'm going to show you the very, very, very next step. So I'll be right back. Okay, so our chicken's pretty much done now, but if you can see in this chicken here, down the bottom here, there is a lot of oil in my chicken. So what I like to do is just remove all the chicken pieces, put them into a bowl, so we can leave the oil in the bottom. Because if I go ahead and add everything to this, I'm just going to have a lot of oil that's just going to be inside of my meal. It's okay to have some because it's got the chicken juices and all the flavor that you've sort of cooked inside of the chicken. But because this is just plain chicken, I haven't actually added anything to it yet. This is literally just essentially chicken juice. So I've separated all of my chicken, I put it in a bowl, and I've just left with this large amounts of oil. So then you put this into a little jar or whatever you're going to do with your oil. Don't put it down the sink, and then you basically get rid of it, because obviously you don't want to put oil down the sink. So I've returned it to the pan, and what I'm going to do now, whilst that chicken is off to the side, is I'm going to cook my bacon. So I'm just going to put my bacon into the pan. So you really only want to cook your bacon for about 2 minutes, or until it's crispy golden brown. So I'm just going to constantly stir my bacon for 2 minutes until golden brown, crispy on every side. You know, I would love to turn this cooking channel and do some challenge videos. Like, for example, I'm just going to turn this on because the steam is... So I'd love to do a challenge where I cook a meal from every single country in the world. I think that would be really really cool to see, like, to see a dish and eat a dish from every country in the world. So maybe one of the things that I might do on this channel is I might cook a meal from every single country in the world. So I'm just going to get a list of every country, a list of the national dishes, and just cook them. Obviously, some of the things might have to be substituted, like, because there might be certain fish that you can only get in that country. But I feel like that would be a really cool challenge, is to cook a meal from every single country in the world. So you never know, I might do that. So leave a comment down below if you from what country you're from, and what's your national dish, and if you think it would be a cool idea for me to try and cook it. So our bacon's just cooking away here. Our pasta is ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to drain our pasta. Make sure to always sort of wear gloves or some sort of hand protection, because when I take that pot off the stove, it's going to be very hot. So you don't just grab it, because the pot is made out of metal. You will probably burn your hands. It's always a good idea to turn the stove off so it can't be touched. So we're going to drain this hot. Make sure you don't just stand over it when you're tipping it out, because you're going to get a direct steam in your face, and you can get burned from steam. So you want to tip it away from you so you don't get steam in your face. I'm going to return it now back to the same pot. All right. So the bacon is starting to brown and crisp up. So now the best thing to do is put the chicken back in the bacon to reheat your chicken back up, but also to blend it with the bacon flavours that you have inside. I've now turned the temperature down to a medium. I sort of had it on high to cook the chicken and the bacon. Now when you add this mixture, you really don't want to have it on too high, because you have thick cream in there, and you don't really want to like cook your cream, because if you have it on too high, your cream's going to cook, and you don't really want that. You want it to taste like cream and not taste like burnt cream. So what you want to do now is you want to do this. Add your pasta that you've just drained to your pot. Add your sauce to the pot and the pasta as well. So we're going to take our pasta, we're going to put it in our large wok, and that's the reason why I chose the wok style of frying pan, because it is very big, and you can store a lot in there. So I'm going to now just sort of mix the chicken, the pasta, and the bacon around, so we don't have just pasta on top and everything on the bottom. And we're going to add our egg cream mixture into the mix now. We're going to make sure that we toss it all, get all the flavours in there. Mix it around, making sure that the pasta's touching the sauce, making sure there's chicken all through it, bacon all through it, so you don't want just large chunks of bacon on the bottom. So I'm stirring it all around. And then, of course, the only thing that's left to do now is to taste test your pasta. So I got chicken, bacon, pasta. Ooh, delicious. I'm just going to let that settle for a little bit and let it cook for a little bit longer before I plate it. So just to make sure that everything has sauce, everything has flavour, because there's a lot of pasta in here. This will make about, so this recipe will make about 4 servings of pasta carbonara. So if you are living by yourself, you've just made dinner for 4 nights or lunch for 4 days. So yeah, but it will basically give you, so I'll take you over and have a look. So we have, this is the size of our pasta carbonara. So we'll have about 4 meals out of that, which is going to do me just fine for the next 4 days. The only thing left to do now is to plate it. So I've got a bowl, I'm going to take my ladle, go right down the bottom so I get some of the sauce. Garnish with some parsley or something on the top to make it look some green. Put yourself on some garlic bread, you got yourself pasta carbonara. Anyways guys, I'm going to go and enjoy my dinner for the next 4 nights. Hope you enjoyed this video on Cooking with Glenn and the first official video on the channel. Making penne, creamy chicken, pasta carbonara. Thanks for watching. I'm Glenn, the chef, and bon appetit.